Yes, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to GAA Fan TV. This is the instant match reaction after Tyrone have beaten Roscommon by 4 points at Hyde Park. A huge victory for Tyrone. They win their opening game of the Super 8s. Puts them in a fantastic position now to reach an All-Ireland semi-final for the third year in a row. As for Roscommon, of course, disappointing victory for them. They weren't quite fully at it in terms of going forward in this game. Their big important players probably didn't play the way they have played in some of their previous games so far, going back to the Connacht Championship so far this year. But of course, guys, first of all, if you are new around here, do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button as well. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of this game and what you think going forward in the Super 8s Championship. Of course, do look out for my match reaction to Dublin versus Cork as well. That game has just kicked off here at the time of this recording. So I suppose we'll jump into the game between Roscommon and Tyrone, and certainly very, very early on, both teams trying to feed each other out, feel each other out, and see very much what is going on in terms of the different style of play that is happening. And certainly Tyrone were a lot better going forward when they had the ball. They didn't have the ball as much as Roscommon in this game, and particularly in that first half. But when Tyrone did have the ball, they were far more impressive. The likes of Niall Sludden, his forward runs I thought were absolutely fantastic. He had a very, very good game for this Tyrone side. Cathal McShane, of course, has had a fantastic year all around for Tyrone. He won man of the match in this game, and I would certainly probably agree with that. I think he had 8 points in this game. He's hit 2 goals and 15 or 16 points or something like that, in and around that range so far this year. So he has had a really impressive year from a Tyrone standard, and Tyrone just they just showed a lot more experience in this game. They were very calm. They never lost their bottle. They never really got nervous. They conceded a few goal chances that Roscommon had, in particular that one chance from Cathal Craig, where he got into the yard box, shot deflected, and it was saved by Niall Morgan. But I think in an overall aspect of things, certainly Tyrone were very comfortable in defending Roscommon, and Roscommon probably just weren't as good going forward. Conor Cox hit a fantastic point in that first half quite early on. It looked like he'd set the bar for another fantastic performance from him, but it didn't quite deliver. He missed a very easy free not long after that. And his performance in an overall aspect of things wasn't quite as good for Roscommon. I thought Ronan McNamee done a great job for Tyrone, marking him out of the game. And we see with Roscommon that if they can't get the likes of Enda Smith or Dermot Murtagh and Conor Cox on the ball, that they do struggle quite a bit. They don't have quite the same fluency going forward. And I think in the overall aspect of things, that was what cost them in this game. Tyrone were very comfortable. They were calm. They didn't really, lose any nerves, as I was saying. But it certainly wasn't their best performance from this Tyrone side. We certainly can see a lot more. The likes of Conor Myler, for example, we can see more from him. I thought Darren McCurry had a good game. And certainly Matty Donnelly as well. But we know we can't see more from Tyrone, certainly in possession. But I think in the whole context of things in this game, they very much did have it under control. And even though, going into the second half, the gap was always like 2 or 3 points up until the final 15 minutes, it never really looked like Roscommon were really going to close that. But in the end, of course, Tyrone were just far too comfortable in the end for Roscommon. Defensively, great performance, as I said, by Tyrone. Ronan McNamee, Rory Brennan doing a great job at keeping some of the Roscommon forwards from really getting into this game and really having the performance that we've seen from Roscommon throughout the Connacht Championship. It's going to be very difficult now for Roscommon going into their 2 final games in this Super 8s Championship. They might get a result against Cork, but at the time of this recording, Cork are actually beating Dublin, so I mean that might even be a stretch at this stage. And certainly playing Dublin as well at Croke Park. So it's going to be very difficult for Roscommon. I don't think it hinders the year that they've had. They've had a very successful year. Winning the Connacht Championship is always a huge achievement for them. And of course, they were absolutely destroyed by 18 points against Tyrone last year. So only beaten by 4 this time around. It could have easily been less had Roscommon been a lot better in possession. And just had a bit more composure going forward. They missed more chances than Tyrone in this game. They had far more wides. And Tyrone just had a bit too much in the end, a bit more experience and a bit more quality. You know, Tyrone were able to bring players like Conor McAlliskey off the bench as well, which I think shows the golfing class at times between these two. And Tyrone, they looked a bit more sharper as well. I think having played a couple of games in a row now, the likes of a match against Tyrone or against Kildare and Cavan, two sides that are two decent teams in Kildare and Cavan, and Tyrone have been able to build up momentum. They've been able to get sharper. They're definitely a team that benefits a lot more from the qualifiers. You know, they went out in the Ulster Championship early last year and benefited quite a lot from the amount of games they get, and that's certainly been no different this year. It will be very interesting to see whether Tyrone are the closest challengers to Dublin in terms of the All-Ireland. And we will have to wait and see as the Super 8 goes on, of course. And in fact, they will play each other in the final game of the Super 8. So we'll have to see how that goes. But certainly Tyrone looking very, very impressive to get this 4-point victory. Roscommon back to the drawing board a little bit. Of course, playing Dublin next at Croke Park, and that will be a very difficult tie for them. But yeah, guys, this has been the match reaction for Tyrone's 4-point victory over Roscommon. Do let me know down in the comments below what you thought of the game. And yeah, guys, do keep an eye out for the match reaction of Dublin versus Cork. And yeah, lads, I will catch you all next time.